And wrong one. There we go. How we getting on, lads? We got two
How are you doing?
absolutely gorgeous men here today. How you getting on, Owen? It's been a fucking long minute.
Very, very well, Jared. Thanks for having me on. And Thomas, how are tricks with you lads? Nice to see you.
I mean, just fine and dandy. Fucking been gone for a while. Getting back at it. So yeah,
Where were you gone?
I was gone off to Wexford with the girlfriend's family. So
Mm.
good to be back. Um,
They
yeah, it
got good
was.
land down there, did they?
They do. Yeah. So it's been a while since we had a chat last, like, and we're kind of getting back to normality. When we chat last time, it was like heart of COVID, like we're maybe our second lockdown, something like that. But now you even have a tour plan. So what's the story with the tour?
The tourist, well, it's been postponed twice, but this time, hopefully, it's going to go ahead. I think they're doing some announcement on September the 1st, but basically just a trip around the country, talking shite for an hour on stage in front of people and having the crack with them. And then we'll have a few pints after and just talking about COVID, talking about things that happened to me throughout the lockdown and talking about stories that I remembered and old Hardy Books tales, that kind of stuff, on the
Yeah,
road, the time I had sex with a fleshlight, that kind of thing.
yeah, good crack. Fair play to you, man.
Yeah,
No,
had to be done.
that's like a whole fucking plot line in the movie. Like the boo running off with all the
Yeah,
flashlights.
I don't know who the deal was. I know. I think Eddie
Yeah,
Birkin wrote that in purposely so that one of us would have to make love to a fleshlight. But yeah, that was part of the movie trip. But that was great crack. But that kind of stuff I'll be talking about on stage, and then trying to do some real life stuff as well. Real
yeah,
life stories that have happened to me throughout the years living in Galway with the lads and that sort of shenanigans.
all the crack. How's COVID been for you? Like over the last year, it's just been quiet, or what's been going on?
Uh, it's kind of been good and bad. Like sometimes it's like, this is life in a way is kind of nicer because it's slower paced and you can appreciate it a bit more. And then other times, then it's like, nah, I'm kind of sick of being not being able to go anywhere, travel anywhere, or even eating inside or all that stuff. It's a bit complicated now, even to go for a pint. So it's a
Yeah,
bit of a pain in the arse. But at the same time, I'm sure, like, well, I mean, I've said it before, but I think that this will be the end of it now, hopefully.
yeah.
So
I think
the
so as
two
well.
years actually went, strangely, the 2 years, even though we were kind of all in cabin fever, the 2 years went fairly fast, I think.
I think the first year was
Did you
slow,
find
and
that
then
yourself?
the second year just went
This year's flown
bang.
by.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're in August now. Sure, like it still feels like we're stuck in April when we went back into lockdown.
the year's nearly over.
I
Like,
know.
I know it's mad,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's
I
so
remember
weird.
Christmas time last year, I'm like, I bet you it's going to fly around again now. And now it's like August already.
And here you are.
Whatever, whatever. Maybe there's no time for boredom. We have the phones.
Maybe it's all the talk ticking people be doing. Yeah, uh,
Are you on TikTok?
We are.
yeah.
Don't be
Just
doing
just
no fucking dances though. Like
just
it's all
yeah.
podcasts and stuff like that.
Just
What
for
about
clips,
yourself, man?
like.
Are you getting anything out of TikTok? What's the story with it? Like, I know it's like a big deal now, but is there anything to be made off it or?
Thomas,
Not
you're
really.
an expert.
I mean, it hasn't done anything for the YouTube channel or the podcast, anything like that. I mean, technically, our most viewed TikTok has more views than our most viewed YouTube video, but sure, like, it's fuck all really. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't do anything for you.
you get a
Mm.
100,000 on that, and you might get 2 subscribers. Like it's nothing. It's nothing. Like, in
Yeah,
fairness,
kind of
like
like a flash in the pan sort of thing.
yeah, like in fairness, how often do you go to like an Instagram feed and say, "Oh, I'll go subscribe"? You do that even less on TikTok. Like, so you'll get nothing out of it.
Mm.
Maybe it's a little bit
More disposable.
entertaining.
What about OnlyFans?
Well, Thomas, you've been on that now for 6, 7, 8 months now. So how's that
Yeah,
been?
yeah, and sure, man, you make your millions, but like, it doesn't do anything for the podcast. To be honest, like, you
Yeah,
tell
Yeah,
them subscribe,
yeah,
but sure, man, they only want to see your cock.
yeah.
Like
yeah.
Terrible
You should
trouble.
show them,
animals.
ask them to subscribe before they see your cock. You should ask them to subscribe, and that way, it's a bit of a
Yeah,
carrot.
yeah. You kind of just have them there now. Yeah, you do the same with Patreon. Isn't that what you're doing on your Patreon?
My podcast's on Patreon, yeah, but it's not as sexual as Thomas's OnlyFans.
Yeah,
I would
Less flesh. More shy talk, less flesh.
Yeah,
But yeah, Patreon and Pandy, I suppose that really became more popular during the lockdown because sure, like all the live stuff was cancelled and everything, like so people needed to get some other kind of way of earning a few quid. So I think that's why OnlyFans and all those websites took off.
yeah, probably.
You're dead right though.
People are at home pulling the flute themselves.
But yeah, even at that, like the amount of like podcasts and shit that popped up, or people doing YouTube now, or Twitch as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, I think you were saying before we
everyone wants.
started, you wanted to give Twitch a go, but the old internet.
I wanted to give Twitch a go, and I was living out in Belmullet, and see, they had fiber cables out there, so the internet was awful fast. But then the contract for the house ran out, and I moved close to home. And where I'm living, it's a black spot for the internet. So every time I call them up, they're like, "Oh yeah, there'll be no Wi-Fi there now for another year or that." So I'm like trying to say to them, like, you know, what's the story with the rollout? I thought that was like you're going to look after rural places, but they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah," but they just that particular for some reason the area I'm in, the village I'm in, everywhere around it's got the internet. It's just that this particular area, it's kind of like in a bit of a valley, so the Wi-Fi connection for some reason is just a bit slow around here. So I've been tethering off me three for the whole last year.
That's rough.
It's
I
rough.
know a lad now, and he'd be fairly close to here. I get mega internet here, but over there he's getting like half a kilobyte or half a megabyte even,
Mm,
and like it's rough. And certain days is like dial-up internet used to have faster speeds, and some days I have like, well, he's looking into it a little bit there. He's looking at Elon Musk and the boys. They're doing
yeah,
is it that Starlink
Star
thing?
Starlink, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is
That costs a fortune.
well, you could use the internet like.
I know,
But
but
yeah, no,
still, like
he's been looking
you're
into
better off.
that
You're nearly
like
better off. Starlink, like it costs about 400 quid to get the dish, and then it costs you have to pay a fella to install it, and then you have to pay the monthly fee, and
yeah,
it's a lot of money, like just to be going on the internet looking at YouTube videos.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, if your man is streaming or if he's making money on gaming, or he probably make that money back, like, but uh, it's
I
just a
mean,
pain in the hole for now. But you think like with Ireland, with all the tech companies that are in Dublin, like the likes of Google and all those boys, you think that they'd take the finger out now and just say, we're going to give everyone in Ireland the internet.
but no, they didn't. Cunts.
The indigenous
Maybe it's a
people of
good thing though.
Cork haven't even
Maybe
seen a TV.
The
huh?
indigenous population of Cork. Nice.
They don't even know what Wi-Fi is yet, man. They're still discovering the rock. I mean, he's a
Is it
pretty good
Dwayne Johnson?
wrestler, but like, man,
Good luck.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, you have to feel bad for people who are like with the shit internet and like, especially right now, because imagine you have to do school or college or work, and suddenly internet goes.
Yeah.
You can do your driving theory test online now. Like that, you have to have your camera on, and they'll be watching you. Like, and like
Hmm.
imagine your internet just goes midway through. You're like, oh, I'm nailing this, gone.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah,
be
exactly.
heartbroken.
Yeah. It's crazy though the way as well that we're so dependent on the internet now. Like it's like you have to have it in order to kind of do your job or communicate with your friends and family. It's like you have to have the internet. But back back in the 90s, like you didn't nobody had the internet except maybe a couple of rich people who neighbors and stuff like that. They might have had a shite connection, but it just seems like everyone and their dog now has to have the internet in order to survive. But
I mean,
maybe
there
people are better off without it.
could be. We'll never know again, I reckon.
Yeah, no,
Um,
no, it's not going back anyway.
yeah,
Oh,
but you're right. Like, you couldn't go in. You couldn't have like you couldn't have like a proper consistent job with no phone or no internet, no devices. You'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
Sometimes I try not to be on the phone and I leave it down and then I'm like, oh no, I've got to send that message to that fella. Although, well, I better check that email and then you have to be back on the phone. And then
I,
before you know it, you're
I'd say,
deep into
yeah,
YouTube or something.
I'd say your phone is always fucking blown up.
Well, it's not necessarily always blown up, but it's just like random stuff always coming in, or like it's just emails, or could be like messages on Instagram. But it mightn't necessarily be anything important, but you think you're always like looking and you're like, oh, maybe that's important. And it's like, it's more so like you have to go through it all just to see in case you're missing something. So I think everyone's got loads of shite coming into them on the internet now. All like notifications is everyone's phones are always like kind of beeping or something's always there to be checked.
To be honest,
We
man, probably
New
not good for
followers
us.
or all that stuff.
It's not good
Hmm?
for us at all. Like it's
No,
fucking
no, definitely
shocking.
not.
yeah.
Like
It makes you very needy, you know. It makes you, and it's never enough. You're always like, oh, if I just get another few hundred, I'll be happy. And then you get to the next few hundred, you're like, "Oh, if I get another few, and then you might be happy for like a day or two, and then you're like, I'll get more. But then you always see somebody with a bit more, you know.
yeah, just the way it goes.
It's
I mean,
pretty
Just the way
accurate.
it goes.
yeah,
Like
fuck.
I mean, I
sometimes
love
I
how
go into
like
the likes of, sorry.
I was gonna say I love how hypocritical we are right now. We're doing like a podcast now that we organize through Instagram, and yeah, giving out about it like
Yeah, that's the thing. You see, you can't bite the hand that feeds you. Like so,
yeah.
Mm,
it's kind of hypocritical, all right. Yeah, but sure,
What were
because
you saying?
the future of work in the world is all internet based. So
yeah.
it's just about keeping an eye on it, I suppose. What do you guys feel about it, all that stuff? Do you care about it or?
Never not had it, so it's just kind of
What year
like
were you born, Jared
2001.
and Thomas?
2001,
Oh, so you dads are 2020.
Yeah,
nearly there. 19th, so
Okay,
yeah.
so you were born with the internet.
pretty
What
much.
age were you given like a device at?
Um,
Late.
I'd say I was around 10, 11. I
Mm.
mean, pretty young,
13.
but like,
It's crazy now how like you see people who are 3 or 4 years old and they have the devices.
yeah,
They're watching fucking Peppa Pig or something like that.
you see fucking babies who have like TikTok accounts with like over 100,000
Yeah.
followers already. Like,
No
You got in
way.
an argument about this, Thomas, about like what that's doing to like young people.
oh yeah, someone on fucking, you know that Irish Reddit, the Ireland Reddit account, and
Yeah,
somebody came in and said, why are kids having such American accents these days? Like, what's up with it? And
yeah,
I'm just saying, it's all the fucking media they consume. They're on YouTube for 6 hours a day watching fucking Fortnite funnies from, American YouTubers, and then after that they go and watch their favorite American made, TV film, and before they go to bed
yeah,
they go and watch 3 episodes of Hardy Books, and then they go back and watch like their American made TV shows. Like of course they're gonna have
yeah, yeah,
American accents. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. When all the stuff
yeah.
they're watching is going to be American, well, what do you think is going to happen? That's like their developmental years. And when mommy and
That's why
daddy are
America,
off, hmm?
they're cute fuckers, the Americans. The
Oh,
Americans
yeah.
are cute fuckers because the media is like, they're so influential with their media like that it takes over everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. The accents, when I was growing up, the accent, like, you'd see some people who have a bit of an American twang, like, but not too much. Or you might get lads, like from posh parts of Dublin who'd be talking with old daft American accents. But like nowadays, it seems like it's kind of like everyone's doing it.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It's a weird thing. It's hard to get rid of.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I suppose if that's what you're consuming and that's the way you're talking, and that's just the way you're going to be. Like, but might necessarily be a bad thing. I don't know. But it is weird, when you meet somebody who's never even like a young fella who mightn't have even been out of the country, like, and he's talking with an American accent. And
Yeah,
they've got, do you ever hear that the vocal fry? They're like, and right, like the end of the
yeah.
words they say, kind of, it's like the words are fried a bit. That disgusts me. That does.
You're not a fan.
It's disgusting.
Uh,
No, not one bit. No, I just think it's so fake.
Mm.
you've been to the States, have you?
I was over. I got a cousin living in New York, so I went over to him a few times.
Wow.
He's Irish American, all Irish American. He's got a tattoo of I was gonna say Mother Teresa. He's got a tattoo of Saint Patrick on his arm,
Yeah. And Mother Teresa on the
and
leg.
he's so proud. He's just on the back of his quads. Um, but he's he's an Irish American. He's very patriotic. Yeah, he's as Irish as you can get. But he's over there in Long Island. But yeah, I don't know what that's got to do with what I'm saying. But he's a lovely fella, and a big shout out to him, Stephen.
How are you, Stephen?
Good man,
Thanks for
Stephen.
watching, man.
Yeah,
Actually,
he'll be watching this. He's a big fan.
there's. I was actually, when I was going off on holiday, I looking into random stuff because there's little history bits there and so on. Looked up like Irish Americans and stuff, And I seen after the American Civil War, there's a gang of Irish lads, and they invaded Canada 5 times to try take Ontario like hostage to bargain it for
Mm.
Ireland from the British like
Jeez, that's nuts. I never heard that.
but like yeah, like a bunch of Irish Americans. They called themselves the IRA at the time, but they weren't recognized as it like properly like. So
You think they would have came up with a new name? Like, just that was a bit lazy.
well, this is back in like the 18 something, just after the American Civil War. They
Oh,
went,
okay.
they ran, and the White House let them do it, gave them permission to do it, and they went up into Ontario, tried to take it and bargain it for Ireland, and didn't get very far, but they did it.
Mm.
Yeah,
At least they tried anyway. You know, that's all you can ask.
yeah, yeah. History's full of little nuggets like that. You just wonder, like,
Yeah.
okay, lads have always been mental.
Oh yeah. There was a group of Irish fighting for the Americans against I think Mexico or something like that. But when they seen how the Mexicans had been treated by the Americans, or maybe the Spanish or whoever it was, they decided to join the Mexican army, but they still ended up getting killed. Like, but there's loads of placards in Mexico City and places like that named after Irish people and with all the Irish fallen soldiers. Like, so we have a big history throughout all of America, really.
Yeah,
Chile and stuff like that. The streets named after the O'Higginses and stuff like that. Lads who went over there, and then the Argentinians have the navy was discovered by a fella from Mayo, Admiral Brown.
what was found by a Mayo lad?
The Argentinian navy. The Argentinians didn't know how to go out in the water with guns, so an Irish lad had to go over and show them.
Are you serious?
Something along. Yeah, well, and an Irish fella discovered the Argentinian navy. His name is Admiral Brown. He's from Foxford and Mayo, but there's actually a statue of him in Dublin as well, down
That's
by the
something.
docks there.
Sure, Irish
You
people are
Google it,
class.
you
Like,
can over.
that's unreal.
They're the best in the world.
Legends. That's it.
We're the strongest. We're the toughest.
Best drinkers. There you
That's good
Big
looking.
time.
go.
Yeah, we're all very sexy.
Yeah, we're all very sexy. Speaking of sexy men, Salmon just got fucking married.
He got hitched up. He tied the knot.
Yeah, I said there's people out there devastated right now.
Their names are
Yeah.
Svetlana.
Yeah, Svetlana's raging, but he's over. Would you believe he's over in Barbados as we speak?
Is he? Fuck.
Yeah,
Where's
he's over
Barbados
on
again?
I think it's just about outside Cavan. I think. I know it's in the Caribbean there.
Side cabin.
He's
Yeah,
over there in an Airbnb that Rihanna owns. He's
yeah.
over there with the missus. They're out drinking coconut tequilas and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. No, he's not. Salmon got married last week. Big shout out to Mike Salmon. He got married to a lovely lady from Mexico, and the two of them have many beautiful years ahead of them.
Yeah.
Wonderful times to be had, holding hands, going for nice walks in the park, and then after dark, God knows what happens.
Salmon probably just binge watches Hardy books like everyone else does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he watches it and he takes notes and be like, "What should I have said there?" And he
Yeah.
breaks it down.
Sits there in his jock. He's actually a perfectionist when it comes to his acting. Like, so he tortures himself by just going over and over and over again, watching it. Like, yeah.
He's a method actor, no more than ourselves.
When I first talked to Stephen, he said that like a lot of it was just like their action at people, especially when it came to stateside. That's just him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. There's no real difference between when the camera is pressing record or not. It's like the same person, you know.
Yeah.
It's regardless. It's just whether or not you catch what he's doing on camera or not. Like, but he's no different in real life, which is kind of funny as well. Like, 'cause then when you meet him, you're like, it's kind of like he's the same person he always is, and it's kind of nice in that way too, you know. But I don't know if it's nice for him, but he seems like he's enjoying life anyway most of the time. But it's kind of he's just a character and like day to day life, and we're all kind of playing versions of ourselves anyways in the Hardy books, you know. Maybe over the years we've kind of softened ourselves a bit, but then again, like some of the stuff that was never caught in camera was more Hardy books than you'd ever see on camera, really. Like, you know, like
You
when
say
we were
you've,
over when we did the movie that time we went to Poland. Some of the stuff we did along the way, like that wasn't on camera, was like, yeah, this probably should have been in the show, but I can't talk about that for legal reasons.
Fair enough. Um, do you have any idea why the seasons were so small? Like you got like 4 or 5 episodes per season. Like it's what 20 episodes of Hardy Bucks.
I think it came down to the fact that like I don't think RT ever trusted us really. I think they just looked at us as like, oh, these lads have made something on the internet that's kind of like people seem to like, but we have so many years of experience in the industry. We'll show them how to put it onto TV. And then they kind of slightly forgot about, you know, they kind of didn't really, I think, respect the idea that like we already had our ways of editing the show and acting in the show and performing it. Like, because normally, like when you do something, uh, it's like normally you have a script. Normally you pretty much stick to the script, and then after you finish a scene, you move on to the next scene. But what the way we were doing it is, we might say, okay, Eddie Durkin is doing the cheekiest face now at the moment. So we might do like it might be on paper, might be only like 2 or 3 lines, but we might film like for an hour, 2 hours, and then all that stuff that we'd get, the Viper would edit that into like a coherent storyline. Like so, it was kind of like we were doing it editing as we went, if that makes sense. Whether it's with the likes of RTE, because they're paying for cameramen and all that stuff, or camera women, like they're on the clock. So RTE don't want to pay them too much either. So they're like, right, as soon as the scene is finished, move on to the next one. Because if it goes over by any amount of days, you're talking in the thousands because you've got to pay the sound man, you got to pay the cameraman, you got to pay costume designers, set designers, you got to pay the directors as the second directors. Like, and there was all this extra stuff that, we probably needed some of it because to go from the small little vignettes, as they were called on the internet, to TV stuff, you probably needed a few more people to help us get it over the line. But the way RT did it, they didn't really. I don't think they really cared about the way we did it on YouTube, and that's why the show kind of changed when it went on to the TV. We went from improvisers to actors, and maybe they just didn't trust us at the beginning. That's the kind of feeling I got anyway. But that's only my own opinion.
There's a lot of talk about a fifth season being made. Would you have any interest in
Well, there's
going back?
support for it.
There's a
Like
support for it, but there's a lot of talk about it, man. Every time I
Oh yeah,
see people talking about Hardy Books, it's when season 5 coming. Like, you'd have
no, I
interest
would.
in?
I definitely would do a season 5. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, no, 100%. The only thing is, the storylines would have to match our ages too. Like you couldn't be like, you'd have to, because we're all like in our late 30s now, so it'd have to be more related to maybe mortgages or marriages or having kids, that kind of stuff. Or even if the Hardy Books was set in space or something completely different,
I
where like
know.
it just opens up with Salmon on a couch and he's smoking a 12 skinner, and then he falls asleep. And maybe he falls asleep while watching Star Trek on television, and then it cuts to Hardy Books in space.
I would fucking love that. I would love that.
That'd be a good opener for season 5.
You're pretty
Write
good.
write that down now. He's gone to get a pen.
We
Yeah.
States I could play Darth Vader.
go on.
I'm your father. Am I your father?
I actually seen that clip very recently. Um, yeah, when I found Hardy Books, I was in the middle of like getting ready for leaving cert, and I found it on Netflix because you found everything on Netflix before it went shite, and I
Mm.
just fucking dogged into it, man. I watched the full season. I was like, oh, there's a movie. Watched the full movie. They took the movie off the Netflix, so I watched it again. I was like, these lads are fucking hilarious. And when we started
Oh,
doing the
thanks a lot.
podcast, I was like, I want to talk to these guys like fucking yesterday. And then
Yeah.
only during the pandemic did I ever see bits of the YouTube stuff. I've never
Hmm.
actually given it like a full whack, but yeah, it was kind of weird because you're looking at like really old days of the internet. You're talking about fucking finding the boo
Yeah.
on Bebo and stuff. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
It's
before I.
like a time warp.
You want to say that again without the robot?
It's like a time warp
Oh,
when you look back at the
Yeah,
old episodes, because it's like Jesus Christ, we were only 23. That's maybe 12, 13 years ago. So it's a whole decade like ago, and like the whole country was in a different, the whole world was different at that time. Never mind the country.
Do you think you could do it again? Like if someone wanted to do something like the Hardy Books today, think they would get anywhere with it?
Say that again. If people wanted to do the Hardy Books, you think that they could do something like it?
If he's never did the Hardy Books and you did it today, do you think it would still float the way it did back in the day?
The thing about the Hardy Books, and I think anything that's good, that like kind of is good, I think it nearly needs to be in the moment. Like you can't really. It's like we used to all live in Galway. All the Hardy Books. Most of us used to live in Galway, and like we lived there for 5 years, and we had some of the best times of our life. But then we kind of moved away. Some of us moved to Dublin. Some of us moved back to Mayo. Some of us moved to Donegal, Martins in Sweden. But then we used to always go back to Galway then, like for nights out, you know. But we were almost like we were trying to capture a night out that was. It's kind of its time had passed, you know. So I think that you have to do things that are kind of suitable to the time that you're in as well. Like, and Hardy Books was suitable at the time because I think it was just after the Celtic Tiger when nobody had any jobs and people were just sitting around, and not everybody, like, but there was a recession in the country, so like it was, people were looking for a bit of humor. Maybe now they're looking for something similar too with COVID and everything, like, and the way Ireland is, and maybe Hardy Books, it have to be something different if it happened now. It could be very similar, but definitely it couldn't be exactly the same. It'd have to be something that represents the moment now, so that it's I don't know. I don't even know if that makes sense, but it
I
has
get
to
you.
be, it has to relate to something that's going on now. I think
Yeah,
I've just made that up as well, so that could be completely wrong.
No, 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 makes
no,
sense
you're,
though.
you're probably right.
What's that thing? There's a genius in madness, man. You're right.
And you're a bunch of mad lads anyway.
I don't know about geniuses, but definitely daft cunts.
I just love this.
We're
I,
lovely lads, though.
he's are. I think the only one we haven't talked to is the Viper and Stateside. So
Mm.
yeah, it was interesting meeting these all like
Mm-hmm.
separately and some of them together. Like meeting Martin for the first time. That guy could talk all fucking day, and it would
Oh yeah,
always be funny.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He's just designed for entertainment. That man, like, he's a very good speaker, like, and he's confident and really like it. He had the vision of Hardy Books at the beginning. Himself and the Viper did. Like the Viper was very much the technical side, and then Martin was very good at selling the show, like, to people. And he'd meet people in hostels and on the street, and he'd be like, "Have you seen the Hardy Books?" They'd be like, "What?" And he'd send them a link then on YouTube or to Bebo or whatever like that. Like, and then he was really outgoing and like a good salesman. So, um, yeah, Martin was definitely kind of like the leader of the pack in that way.
and
Did you meet Martin face to face, or was it on the internet?
he's
Oh,
on
on the
this
internet.
on
Oh yeah,
this.
yeah. Well, if you
Oh,
meet him offline, that's a different beast altogether again.
dude, he kept doing this thing, and I love him for it. He kept doing this thing. He was like, "Oh, I have no time, lads. But I'll get to you when I can." But when he said this, he would call me. So I ended up having 3 separate hour long conversations with him on the phone about how he didn't have time before we got him on the first time.
That sounds like Martin, all right.
Yeah, oh, it was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Did he tell
Um,
you any stories about the times we used to live in Galway together?
uh, he did, but to be honest, it's gone. It's gone.
We used to live in a place called Ballyban there in Galway. Myself, Martin, and Martin's sister. And Martin had a Swedish girlfriend at the time, and there was some English fella called Glenn. And the English fella called Glenn, like, he'd never buy food, but he'd always be looking at your food when you're eating, and he'd be kind of like going, "What time is it?" And he'd be asking you like questions just to sort of to kind of like throw you off. But he'd be looking at your food all the time, so you'd have to be always feeding him. And then Martin was going out with a Swedish lady, and they were, what's the word when people are mad for riding all the time?
Knocking boots.
Nymphomaniacs, is it?
You say knocking boots? Nice.
Knocking boots or whatever, yeah. Bumping heels.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were nymphomaniacs, the two of them, and I had the room next to them, so all I could hear was them on the pump the whole time. And then like French Toast would come over. He used to have a big black leather jacket at the time, and like we'd just sit around and talking and telling stories to each other, and they'd be all shite stories, like. But it was a great bonding moment. But myself and Martin used to go down to Super Value, just like going in there, just messing, and like we were messing with the security guard, and we'd be just going over chatting to people and trying to chat up women in Super Value and asking them to go on dates with us and other stuff as well. Like, but they were good times in Galway, you know. So I don't know how much of those stories I can go into actually now that I say it, but we had some juicy times back in those days too. Anyway, outlandish enough. And down the Spanish, we'd walk into the Spanish Arch every Friday and Saturday, and we get a bottle of bookie, and we go in there and we'd be playing frisbee with randomers, and we used to have friends from all over the world. Martin at one point got a boombox or like a speaker, and he'd have like a microphone, and he'd have a guitar. So we'd just kind of like be going around the place. He'd be playing music, and I'd bring a football with me, and then there'd be times where like there could be 60 or 70 of us walking around Galway together, and there'd be lads from all over the world. And I made good friends with a couple of lads from Somalia, and like we would always just like tapping a ball around as Martin played Oasis on the guitar, and we'd be drinking Buckfast, and they were the times of our lives.
Man, that sounds fucking fun.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, no real equivalent to that. Yeah, I've never even fucking been to Galway. It sounds
No?
deadly. No, I admitted that on the off the Irish story there the other day, and the shit I got for it. Yeah.
Jesus, can't believe it. How have you never been to Galway?
We do a lot of holidays like abroad, or
Mhm.
we'll go south. Like I'm going to Sligo next week. Went to Wexford with the girlfriend's family, but normally we'd always go like
Nice.
somewhere in Wexford. But
Wexford's lovely. Wexford and Wicklow, they're lovely
yeah,
spots, all right.
yeah, definitely. But we just
But if you get a chance,
somehow,
do Sligo, Galway, Mayo, and Clare.
yeah,
You'll have an absolutely lovely time. Take the bike out. Get an old two-seater bike for yourself and the missus. Pack the bag full of Pringles and grapes. Take in the views.
sound. I'll write that down. Yeah,
Take some pictures, send them on to me.
there you go. Yeah. What was it? I was talking to Kieran Highland yesterday. He did a bit on the radio. And he was saying yourself
Yeah.
and himself are after doing a few old videos there.
Yes, yeah, we are. We did a video. Kieran Highland, the painter, yeah.
He's fucking funny, isn't he?
He's funny. He's got great energy about him. Yeah, he came down to Mayo there a few weeks ago. He was on the beer in Galway with his brother, so he came down to Mayo, and we did a sketch together. So I'm just waiting for the fella to edit the sketch for me, and then try to put it online somewhere. Like, so, he's a sound out again, Kieran. Great painter. Big shout out to him.
Looking forward to seeing that one now.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah,
Yeah, that should
yeah,
be good. It's just trying to get it out there, you know. But it's trying to get time for everything between, you know, more than yourselves. I'm sure you know the podcasts and editing and filming, spending time with partners and
yeah.
loved ones, time outside with the dog, going for walks,
Life gets busy,
taking
don't it?
pictures of your granny.
There's always something.
It does.
What was
Life
that
gets
last
really
one?
busy, you know.
Wait,
You
what
gotta
was
keep
that last
busy.
one?
Painting pictures of your granny.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one, but whatever you're into, man, you do you.
yeah. Good by yourself. Yeah, yeah. No, life does get.
So how do you guys know each other anyway?
Huh?
How do you lads know each other?
I painted
college?
pictures of his granny for years.
Funny enough, that's how we
Oh,
met.
lovely.
Yeah. just school. Just school. Went to the same school in the same classes. Didn't really talk till we did TY, and then haven't stopped talking since to TY. So there you go.
That's great.
And now we talk nearly every single fucking day with whoever. Like, yeah, it'll do something doing a podcast with someone else, like, because you end up talking to them so fucking much. Like we
That's
did
great.
140 episodes in 140 days, and the head was
Wow.
melted. Like you'd know someone after that, but
Yeah.
even with the guests being there, like it's still the same thing going on. Yeah, it's definitely an album.
That's brilliant. So you must be really slick now with the whole podcast game.
Yeah, I'd hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Same as anyone figuring it out. We've never done media before, so kind of, you know yourself. You the first podcast we did together, I wish it never existed.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It was on. No, like with you as well.
Discord, man.
It was the one we did with you, because it's on
Okay.
Skype, and it was like there was no one's face because none of us had webcams except you.
Oh no.
Yeah, like it
So is
looks.
my face on it?
No, your face wasn't on it.
No.
Yours is off as well.
I remember
But
asking you. None of us had our webcams on. I think Dara was like, "Owen, are you gonna turn on your camera?" And you just went, "Fuck no, if you're not gonna."
you said no. I looked
No,
aft.
because I did one before where like the two lads were like, "Oh, sorry, our webcams have just broken." I'm like, "Oh, is this a prank? Is it?" And then I was thinking it was a prank, but so then I was like, "I'll leave mine on them." Well, they're like, "Ah, yeah, leave it on." So then it's just my face was there, and I could just hear their voices, so it's a bit off-putting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine talking to some lad and you can't see him, like so. I
we
think the you need to see the visual side of things too.
we asked the guy on from the States. He was a comedian. And we're good friends with him now. But the first time we had him on, because he'd never been asked to do something before, he thought it was a fucking prank. Because he'd only done one show
Mm.
before, and it was like MTV's Yo Mama, where like they made Yo Mama jokes at each other till someone cried or
Oh,
gave
fuck,
up.
I've seen it. I know the show you mean. Yeah, Nick Cannon's always on there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lad who came second in the first season, he should have won, but it was kind of like scripted. Um, and
What
he
does
was
that lad
like,
do day to day then?
he's a comedian now. Like,
Medium stand up.
Mm.
yeah,
And he's a podcast
Okay.
also, so he does like these
Yeah.
like skits and stuff. He's very funny, man. Check him out, Paul Roseberry.
Paul Roseberry. He's a sound skin, but like
Paul Roseberry. I'll check him out. Yeah.
he thought it was like a proper like it's just a prank, like you say,
Okay.
but yeah. I mean, when you think you're like small or anything, and then like someone asks you to do a podcast, you're kind of like, what's going on here now?
What was the question?
Huh?
Sorry, I didn't hear that last bit there.
I said
There.
when
It kind of slightly cut.
when you're small, like, and someone asks you to do a podcast, it can be a bit weird.
I suppose so. Yeah, yeah. But I think, well, I think everyone's kind of jumping onto everyone's podcast nowadays, anyways. So
Yeah, good to see.
Yeah, it is good to see you. Definitely. Yeah. There's a fella called DJ. I forget what his name is, but
Only
he's
cans.
got a only cans. I don't know if I've been on his podcast, but he's sound. But there's a fella called Cheap Heat Productions,
Yeah,
and
I
he
know
gets
him as
like
well.
loads of people on from like loads of ex wrestlers and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and ex footballers. He had Rodri Giggs on there as well. So just goes to show you, like, if you kind of just put the name out there, keep asking people,
Yeah,
you'll probably end up getting them.
definitely.
People like to talk. It's nice to talk to randomers. I did a podcast before with a load of lads in England. Actually, I didn't even realize they were from England until we were actually all on the podcast, and there was like 5 screens on the top. It was through Zoom as well. So I was like, "Oh fuck, there's 5 lads here," and then they were all like, "How you doing, mate? You all right?" And I was like, "All right, lads," and I thought they were putting on an accent. Like, yeah, sorry, we've heard about the Hardy Box, and they were from like Wolverhampton, different places, and some of them had no Irish connections at all. So I thought that's great, like that. Maybe we can crack England, get some of that Queen's money.
Yeah, we had a guy on before, comedian Joe Kilgallen,
Yeah.
and he was fucking raving about you lads. Because
Oh, really?
in passing we brought up the Hardy Bucks, and he's like, the Hardy Bucks, like he's an Irish American living in Chicago, like, and he was fucking massive fan.
No way. Joe Kilgallen, Jesus, you can't get any more Irish than that name.
We another time, we kind of bring these up every now and then. It tends to
It
happen.
sounds like he smells of pints.
I'd say he does. We had a voice actor on. He done like that Resident Evil game that came out, and we were talking about, I think, just sketch comedy, and we brought up like the Hardy Books. He's like, the Hardy Books, and like, oh, of course I know them. Yeah, I've read them all, and we were kind of looking at him like, you what?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because apparently there's books or whatever called the Hardy Books.
That's right, there is, yeah. And there's the wrestlers too as well. So I don't think their book is called the Hardy Books, but what are those wrestlers called? The Hardy Bros, the Hardy Boys.
Yes, I know the Hardy.
Actually, before in Swinford, we were in Swinford once. That we went in to get a bit of food there in a place in Swinford called Lettuce. I think it's called Lettuce Out or Lettuce In or something like that.
That would be a dodgy
Come on,
name for it.
But like we were in there anyways, and some owl lad got up and he kind of out of the corner of his mouth he goes, "There they are now, the heavy boys." That's what he thought our name was, like. So
The Heavy Boys. Yeah.
We've had some funny ones of us. We had this flat Earth guy on, and after the podcast, he calls us the Angry Irish Podcast.
oh no, look, that puts a completely different slant on it altogether.
Yeah. I think he's getting on with the lads at Dead Hedgehogs. We chat about them, but I'll see how that goes. Yeah, we got some
What's your
other
man
weird
like
ones.
the flat Earth lad?
What's our opinion? It's a load of bollocks, and
Yeah.
you're very misinformed if you believe in it.
It is.
Mm.
I don't know. It's weird. Um, I feel like we gave him too much time to talk and listened a bit too much. Because by the end of it, we'd be like, after 20 minutes, we'd probably said okay, maybe twice, and that was it.
Okay. Yeah.
And only in the last, again, 20 minutes did we get a chance to talk. Like, because when you have a guest on, you don't know him, you kind of let them give their spiel.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. But then, yeah, you want to interact as well with them too. So sometimes though, you get guests and they come on and they just want to sell you something. So
Yeah.
I find those podcasts, yeah, they don't really work so good.
No.
Needs to be a nice balance, nice
Anyway,
conversation.
We've
this
only
Flaherty
had
guy, he was nice enough now. He seems like a
Mm.
nice guy because we were chatting to him beforehand, and he seems nice. Just meant to like the last what was it, like last 10 minutes we kind of gone off flat Earth, and we were just kind of talking about like whatever, like conspiracy theories and stuff. And Jared brought up that we had Jack Horner on, who's like this really famous paleontologist. Like they base Jurassic Park off him and stuff like this. And then the lad just goes, "Oh, you mean dinosaurs? Dinosaurs aren't real." And Jared always reminded me that I looked like I was about to cry laughing, but I didn't
yeah
want to because I
yeah.
thought that I don't want to insult the guy right to his face. But
Of course, yeah.
Like when you're trying to hold in a laugh, but you're about to like spit as a result. Like Thomas's face is like that because like you mentioned, like dinosaurs, just whale bones in mountains. Like, yeah, oh, it hurt, especially after talking to Jack Horner. He gave this
That's a whole
long,
podcast in itself. Like, if
yeah.
some lad says to you like dinosaurs don't exist, that could be a whole other freaking hour or two of shite talk.
I can't do that anymore. I can't live with that anymore. There's just
No,
some conversations I
the
don't want to
threshold
have
is.
anymore. Yeah,
talking to those people, man,
I know.
it's
Yeah,
fucking work. Like it is
like it was
just
Eddie Bravo.
it is.
I'd
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
flat Earth with him forever because I think the way he talks is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, but like, if you listen to him, like, I don't even. Anytime he goes off on a rant on Joe Rogan, it's like when you listen to what he's saying, you're like, what are you actually saying? Like, I don't even know.
Yeah,
I wish he could just tell me what he's saying. Like, I mean, he believes in flat Earth, does he, Eddie Bravo?
apparently, yeah. He's
Or is
heavy.
he is
He's
he
heavy in it.
gone is he gone that far?
Yeah, he's heavy in it.
Yeah, yeah. But he's funny. He's entertaining. Like, and I suppose that's half the crack on the internet is to be entertaining, get the clicks.
mm.
You see, fucking, I was going to say Tom Jones, but Alex Jones.
Yeah.
I've said
He's like
before, like,
huge because he's
oh, go on, sorry.
no, he's huge on the internet because mostly he's entertaining, and that seems to trump anything else at the moment.
No, you're dead right.
I love when he does Joe Rogan. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah,
everyone in
yeah,
the
yeah.
room trying to calm him down. Would you
Sometimes
have
though,
him on your
those
show?
people like, would I have? Oh, of course I would. Yeah, definitely Eddie Bravo. Yeah, I'd love to because he's a legend. Like of jiu-jitsu, and he's obviously very entertaining. Like, but
I
I
meant
just
Alex.
mean like that. I don't actually know what he's saying when about flat Earth. What's. But then again, sure, he should be open to everything, I suppose. But I do think that flat Earth is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
The moon landing, all that stuff, the pyramids being built by aliens. You could always be like, maybe you never know. How did they move those rocks there? Or maybe like it's easy for like the moon landing, like that could be a piece of piss to record that and just set it up in a studio, like. But at the same time, flat Earth is a bit much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I try not to go into conspiracies too much, but
No.
at the same time, even with COVID-19, and you see the way how much the world has changed now, like it's kind of like the world is a weird, weird place, and it's
Yeah.
getting weirder by the day, like so.
Is there
And
any
the media is so tricky. Like the media really they haven't done anything to help people in a lot of ways with the whole COVID-19. In fact, they probably made it worse because they're on about it all the time. They're on about the numbers all the time. And I know it's important maybe for some people to give them the numbers just so they know where they stand. Like, but they never ever mentioned once about like looking after yourself, your mental health, going out for a walk, and just saying, yeah, like just take care of yourself a bit more and maybe try to eat a bit healthier and just look into being a bit self-sufficient, or growing your own stuff because with the way nothing, with the lack of movement around the world now thanks to COVID, obviously it's harder to get stuff into the country. Like we'll just say produce, whatever. Like, but it's funny how the radio never talks about any of that stuff. It's all about like the numbers now with the vaccines, and then they'll jump straight into an advert for a fucking car or something like that.
Yeah,
The cons.
I think that's why it's not doing as well as everything else. Like people have like YouTube shows that do better, like
And the radio.
than radio, TV, whatever. Like people
Yeah.
who do
Yeah.
like what, like Joe Rogan would beat any TV like place in the States. He'd beat any news outlet.
Completely. Like the internet's more powerful now than television, and it's just slowly dying off, you know.
It
But
is.
then again, the internet's a wild old fucking wild west too. Like you get a lot of shite on there as well.
Absolutely.
Can't do it.
Like a
Yeah.
lot of like mainstream media is such a weird fucking thing to say. Like they're really only good for like big headlines or like
Mhm.
controversies. Yeah, like you might see like, oh, fucking the Royals did something dodgy again today. Click
Yeah.
now to find out why. You know,
Yeah.
just does really really dumb stuff. Like, yeah,
And who gives a fuck about them? Like really, like at the end of the day,
Exactly.
like who gives a shit about them?
yeah. I mean, if you're into that stuff, fair enough.
They're a load of whiny
Yeah.
cunts. All of them.
Hmm?
They're a
You
load of whiny cunts.
you said it right.
Seriously. Like,
You
and
nailed
then,
it.
and then you have the whiny
Loads of
cunts.
cunts.
You have the sex offenders, and then you have the Queen. That's about
Yeah.
it.
The other day, like they had 3 newspapers: the Sun, the Star, and the Mirror. Like, and I obviously, they'll put up anything, but not that the other ones, the Times or any of them ones are any fucking better. But the front page of the 3 of them was pretty much the same thing about the monk, that criminal lad that was let loose in Spain, or he was caught in Spain or whatever. I
Mm.
didn't fucking read it, but it's just like, why are you telling us this? Like, what are you trying to do to the people? Like, you're trying to really keep us scared all the time. It's like they like to keep you in a bit of fear all the time.
Dude,
Yeah, there's not a lot of positivity in it,
never.
which
No,
is kind of
no,
what
no.
you'd wish for, but that doesn't get views. Like,
That doesn't tickle the back of your neck.
yeah,
Thank God I said neck there, huh?
yeah. But like if there's an article saying something good happened, like you're probably not going to click it. But you find out like Jeffrey Epstein's found still alive. You're gonna be like, well, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to make a conscious decision to click off all that, because they know that you're going to click onto it. And then, it's like Lionel Messi going to Paris Saint-Germain. Like, it's like people are like, oh, it's so sad that he's leaving. But when you break it down, like, this is he's probably like a billionaire at this point, married to a supermodel who's moving from Madrid, one of the nicest cities in the world, to Paris, probably one of the nicest cities in the world. Like, and you're meant to feel sorry for him because he's leaving Barcelona. It's just like, and it's just like, I don't know. Well, maybe that's not a good example, but
No, you're right.
That's a pretty good example.
You're right, yeah.
I guess it's hard to feel bad for him.
I feel bad
It's
for this
hard to feel bad
billionaire
for him, yeah.
because he's not being paid his multi-million dollars. Boo.
exactly, yeah.
Boo.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh, I don't know. It's I don't even know why we're giving out about them, really. Like, because
Yeah.
at the same time, like, if you're trying to sell something, then like a tour or whatever, you could see something on there that we'd have done, like an article or whatever. So it's not necessarily that black and white that the media are bad and
yeah.
people are good, but like, I do think that they haven't been good during lockdown. They've been very bad. Like, and I think they've shown their true colors as well during lockdown.
I think you're right.
You know,
Yeah.
It's
I
time
think
someone
that's
to rival
probably
RTE, man. RTE have,
yeah, exactly. Like, I
like-
mean, and there's some stuff on RT that's good. Like, they make some relatively good documentaries, and there's some shows on there that are fairly all right. Like, but
Sure,
all
Fair
that
City's
shite,
class.
Fair City's one of the best shows in the world, man. It's the longest running show apparently in Dublin, I think. But like fuck, what was I going to say there now?
Something about RT.
Like the Claire Burns show and all that fucking shite. Just like giving out Marion McCallaghan talking absolute wank to somebody about something, trying to be like, I'm defending the people's honor here by asking you these really hard-hitting questions. And at the end of the day, she's just cruising back to her nice gaff, putting the feet up, sticking on this podcast.
yeah.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
does every Irish person, to be honest with you. But like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you're dead right.
Exactly.
There's one now. She's on TV3 or something. I can't think of her name, but I think it's Lorraine or something. and she just talks around absolute fucking spew for around 2 hours every day. For like, it's like, oh, I can't believe Megan said this, and it's like, I don't really like that lad, and she goes on about it, interviewing Tom, Dick, and Harry. What do you think about it? Like, it's shite television, man. It is. Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah, but at the same time, then as well, to kind of like to contradict ourselves, there is that we're the ones who click onto all this stuff. Like at the end of the day, the advertisers always follow the clicks. And I'm as guilty as anyone for clicking onto shite. Like if I see an article where it's like Wayne Rooney claims the Earth is flat, I'd be the first person clicking into that.
Sure, we do that when UFC fighter said he thought that it was flat. Paulo Costa. We went into that fairly recently. Yeah, saying he thinks the earth is flat. Like, okay, buddy, just go in that cage and fight that guy. I don't care. I think he's been hit too hard.
Yeah. The internet's giving everyone a voice as well, isn't it? So I mean, everyone has the ability to talk shite on here.
Us included, yeah. Yeah.
We're full of shit, the three of us.
We are. Yeah. Would you be into UFC or boxing or anything like that?
I'm a big UFC fan. Yeah. I like boxing too. Yeah.
Looking forward to any fights?
I love. I'm looking forward to Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane to see how that goes. That'd be a great fight. I love Amanda Nunes as well. She's class.
Yeah,
definitely.
Love her to kick the shit into me. Love her to dominate me in the ring.
Yeah.
And who else?
I'll clip that bit now. That's going on TikTok right there.
Take it away. I just can't wait for the UFC, like, well, whatever it is, MMA, what it's going to look like in 20 years' time when like there's lads in there with swords and they're doing like flick kicks, and they've figured out a way to contain energy and throw it at you like Ryu's Hadouken. So that's the future of the UFC, I think.
You know that Dustin Poirier lad? He was asked recently that he lost to Khabib, and someone asked what would you have done differently, to fight Khabib if you had known that you'd lost, and he goes, brought a pistol.
Yeah.
Even at that, would that work?
How crazy Khabib's wrestling must be. Maybe one into the back of the leg.
That lad's fucking mad, fucking crazy, fucking Russian from the mountains.
29-0, like that's fucking. And like, there's a point where they could find no one to fight him. Like no like big name guy would touch him.
Yeah, unbelievable when you think about it. Like, because everyone thinks jiu-jitsu is the best, and maybe it is. Like, but in Russia and those places they do sambo. I think it's called.
Yeah.
Sambo. No, I think it's sambo.
No, sambo.
It's like, it's like, I think it's like jiu-jitsu and judo mixed in together. Like, but it just shows you like that if you're really good at that. And I suppose he's wrestling all his life. That's where he's from. They have a high concentration of hardcore wrestling bastards. So
it's like the Mayo
really
of Russia.
Fighters, like. Exactly, yeah. Or Dagestan. I don't even know what the story is. Yeah. Putin probably owns the gaff, but he probably lets the lads do what they want there. But yeah, Khabib's class. He's unbelievable.
Yeah,
and he's one of the toughest lads out there. But I think he signed for a third division football team.
Yeah,
in Russia, I think now.
I still can't believe that.
I know you wouldn't want to miss a tackle with that lad.
Yeah, you just take you down and wrestle you. Yeah. Could be putting lads in arm bars.
Instead of chopping people up, it's literally just fucking tackle them to the ground and put them in a rear naked, man.
Yeah.
Sure. Once before, I was playing against Castlebar Celtic, and this was back when the football used to be kind of rough enough. One of the boys, he pulled a knife on me as I was going in on goal. The ref only gave me a yellow card.
A knife? Terrible. Jesus. Yellow card. No, come on, stop that.
Terrible joke.
Yeah, yeah, that was something. Yeah.
Christ.
All right, that's it. See you. Good luck. No.
All right, lads. I'm going to sign off on that.
What's the story with the stevo charity thing? Because you're involved in that for commentary.
Yeah, I think I'm doing commentary. I think I am, or analyst. I can't even say that word. An analyst. But Stevo is fighting against Paddy Barnes in a wheelchair boxing charity, to raise money for people in wheelchairs and disabled people. And then there's a few people on the undercard as well. I think Darren Conway's fighting Al Foran,
Mm.
and
I'd say
Dylan.
Alf is delighted. He was supposed to fight McGregor.
Al Foran. Yeah, but I think Al Foran has he might have a pacemaker, so he's got to be cute in there as well, you know.
No. All right.
And then Dylan is a fighter. Fuck, my memory is shocking bad, but there's a few other people on the undercard as well.
I know who you're on about, Dylan.
Basically,
We've talked to him before, and Fabi D's fighting as well.
yeah,
isn't
he's a
he?
boxer. He
I
is.
think
Yeah,
he's
I don't
fighting
know who
Fabi
he's
D.
fighting now, but it's
Not
right.
sure.
He's fighting Fabi D. Yeah. But yeah, that should be a big enough all night. September the 11th, the day the Twin Towers came down. That's when that's happening. So
Yeah.
that should be a good night. It's got no connection to the Twin Towers, but it just
No.
happens to fall on the same day.
I think it's brilliant that it's going to be free to watch, but
Yeah,
they'll be taking donations on the night. Like,
exactly. Yeah. And I think he's already raised 35,000, 40,000. So
yeah,
if he can get it up to 50, it'd be unbelievable.
and he's
Very-
not doing just one. Like, he's going to do a separate one with McGregor, and he wants to fight other
I think so.
people. So
I think so. Yeah, I think he's going to do something. I think. Well, obviously McGregor broke his ankle or whatever. So I think he was meant to be fighting Al Foran, but that went tits up. So I think he's going to do something at the end of the year. So that'll probably be an even bigger event.
dude, you may get your
You
picture
gonna
with
go along to
McGregor.
it?
Fuck yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. If they up the capacity of how many can go, or even do this thing for like maybe more vaccinated people can go, I'll be there. I'll be there and I'll be square.
Brilliant.
I'll be running into the
Yeah,
ring.
like
I'll be saving
should do.
Stevo.
I know. The 3 Books Left have a live show next month. Are you going to be at that?
I'm doing my own tour next month as well. You see, so I've got those gigs coming up as well. So I probably won't be no.
Fair enough. Yeah, we booked it at
'cause my
first
mind will-
first sight.
Huh?
I said we booked it at first sight. Like, we gonna go see the lads in
Oh, nice.
September.
Oh, lovely. Yeah. That'll be an epic one. But no, I've got to keep my mind in my game for my own tour. Hopefully, it does go ahead with the way lockdown is and all that stuff. So I think they're making some announcement on September the 1st about all that stuff.
Are they? Oh,
So we'll see.
Yeah,
guess yeah.
But it'd be nice if everything got back to normal and they allowed like a nice gang of people to come in. Like I know that they're trying to get the bubbles going and all that stuff. Like the different areas where people sit in different groups. But I think you need to kind of nearly be beside each other for comedy to work. You need the kind of that energy of people touching shoulders.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If you're spaced out, it looks kind of weird, doesn't it?
It does a bit, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
it's awkward, you know. But maybe
What's
that's the future. Maybe the future is humans not being around each other.
I hope not.
I wouldn't mind it in the cinema now, to be honest. Some loud cunt munching popcorn beside me, but like,
Yeah.
I actually don't mind it in that regard. But in I went to what's his name? I went to Jack Whitehall last year, and with comedy and comedians, it's a good stuff having a crowd there, because he feeds off and we feed into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You need it, like you need that
You do.
energy.
Yeah, you're dead right.
And sometimes you'd watch it online, and there wouldn't be a chuckle out of you. Might get like an old like, you might exhale through your nose once, but like when you're there, like you're gonna be wetting your pants, like.
Definitely, because there's a bit of a nervous energy because everyone's there, like there's a big crowd of people and there's a bit of a nervous energy around the place. So it's kind of like that kind of makes you a bit kind of like, ooh, I'm a bit excited here.
Yeah.
What's the most you ever had at one of your comedy gigs?
The most people?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say the Sugar Club in Dublin, there was once where it was like packed to the rafters, even at the back. On my own, maybe 550, I'd say 600.
Wow,
And that was I think I had 2 nights in a row there, roughly around that same crowd. So like that was a memorable night that I'll never forget. And then there was a time where myself, Eddie Durkin, and the Viper and Simcard went to Leeds in the Reading Festival, but we were part of a group of people. So it wasn't necessarily, the crowd wasn't there for us. They were there for like the comedy people. But there was maybe 4,000 people in the tent that day, 3,000 to 4,000.
That's intimidating.
That was nuts.
Shit.
It got to a point where it was so intimidating that it was almost like we were kind of like high on some sort of it was just excitement took over, and we were like, fuck, let's just go out there and do it. And then we went out there and we kind of went a bit nuts, and it kind of worked. I think we got through it. So it worked out in the finish. But yeah, it was intimidating, but a good learning curve as well,
Yeah, it's good to see.
As John Kavanagh would say, you're either winning or you're learning.
I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Fucking McGregor has a
What
lot
do
of
you make of
learning
that?
to do in that case.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, every day.
Even his win against Donald Cerrone, like I went back and watched that yesterday, and it was so
Mhm.
fucking like cheeky. Like it was like the equivalent of the Jorge Masvidal flying knee. Like it was just like
Yeah,
he got really close to the guy, like he's about to touch gloves again, like a lot of fighters do. I think Donald was expecting that as well, and then he just fucking went in with a flying knee, pulled him close, and started elbowing him till his nose was gushing blood, and then just started swinging
yeah, it was the
haymakers.
shoulder he caught him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a sight to behold. Um,
Yeah.
it was shitty fighting, but a lot of his big wins were shitty fighting. Like with Jose Aldo, that knockout just so fast.
Yeah, but why do you think that was shitty?
I don't know, like well, I think it's more shitty about like beforehand. Like Jose
Oh yeah,
Aldo is
yeah.
this massive fucking incredible martial artist and still is today, and
Mm.
he just disrespected the guy so fucking much. Dana White allowing most of it. Um, I don't know, but I guess that's what he's famous for. I don't like to see that
Yeah.
in a lot of fighters. I think McGregor is the one that pushed the line for me. Like with Michael Bisping does it, I think he's hilarious. When oh, what's his name again?
Jail.
Chael Sonnen does it, I think he's fucking hilarious. But it
Mhm.
just when he did it, I was like, come on.
Yeah, you can go too far with that stuff too. But then
Yeah.
sure, like the ego takes over and you start talking fucking shite that you don't even know what you're saying. Like McGregor, he was very entertaining there for like a long time, but I just think that he started drinking too much of his own juice.
Yeah.
Dead right. No, it is sad to
It's always
see.
better when you're drinking someone else's juice, in fairness.
Or just even if you're drinking your own juice, just sip your own juice and then put it down and be like, okay, I think that's probably like not a good analogy, but
Yeah. But
leave your juice down.
yeah, there you go. Did you see his recent fight with Dustin Poirier?
I just watched it. I watched it the next day. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't stay up to watch it. No.
It was disappointing
Yeah,
to
that
stay
was
up and
the
watch.
sickener, really. Did you pay for it?
Oh, God no.
I know we did. We did.
Oh yeah, we did.
No, genuinely we did, didn't we?
No, no. Usually, no, no. To be honest, and I know Dana's a big fan of this podcast. So
Yeah,
don't
so
feel, don't take this one to heart, Dana, because we love you and all, but we don't pay for it, man. Do you know how expensive it is to be a UFC fan? It's a good, maybe 3-4 grand a year, like if you want to buy all the
Yeah, fuck
cards
that.
and the
Yeah.
UFC pass, and it's like
Mm.
you're better off streaming it, to be honest, somewhere. Now we did buy the McGregor card because we were worried in case something would lag on one of the streams or something like that. So like I do buy the big cards because I don't want to miss anything,
Mhm.
you know.
and you want your
Of course,
lads
yeah, that's
to
fair enough.
be doing well as well.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Ah, yeah, the odd time is nice to throw him a few quid, but
there you
It
go.
is, yeah.
When
Yeah,
McGregor fights, you find lads who would talk shit about him the day beforehand, being like massive fans, but then when he loses, it's back to normal.
Mhm.
Like it's a very humble
yeah,
day
yeah,
when McGregor loses. Um,
yeah. Well, it was huge there for a while. Like everyone, like people's days were, people's emotions were changing on whether he won or not. Like, but now I think people aren't as into it as they used to be.
yeah. Well, in fairness, when he was like dominating in 2014 to 16,
Yeah,
became first ever two divisional champ. How could you not be like, holy shit? Because that's an Irish
yeah,
lad in there demolishing people, holding the Irish flag,
yeah. Of
and
course, yeah.
it just kind of it's like
Doing it like,
football.
yeah,
It's like your team just went out and bet the whole world like.
Mhm.
of course, yeah, on a global scale, you know.
Mm.
Speaking of
Yeah.
which, I better head off, lads. But before I go, can I give a big shout out to the Mayo GA football team? And I hope to God that they beat either Kerry or Tyrone in the All Ireland final.
You can absolutely do that, and
Well, it's been done now,
shouting for Mayo, man. They beat Dublin. They should win
Please,
the
lads.
All Ireland, I think.
dude. They should. Yeah,
Please, let's say a
Dead
prayer
right.
for the guys. They deserve
yeah.
it. They've done so well. They beat the Dubs. The Dubs are a great team, but now let's pass over the throne to the Mayo GA football team. And that's when you put the music in there.
There you go. And if people want to check you out, where can they find you?
Mainly on Instagram, Owen Colgan Fitness, or you can check me out on Patreon, which is where I upload the podcasts. It's the same name, and I got a link there that you can click on Instagram. Or if you're ever around Mayo, give me a shout, and I might meet you for a cup of tea if you want it.
There you go. Don't you have a thing with the patrons like you? you might
Hmm?
do a podcast with them in their house. Like, you don't have something written there?
I probably do, yeah. The plan was to, well, obviously with lockdown, you can't go into people's houses, but my
Yeah.
plan was to, pick some people and then go into their house and just do a podcast and then just drink tea.
You
and
don't
have a
even
look
tell
around their
them.
house.
You just show up
No, just
like,
call in. Nighttime job, in the window.
yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah,
So
no,
if
that's
you,
the plan anyway. So once everything opens up again, everyone's got their boosters. I'd love to go around and chat to people. Just chat to people day to day and just get conversations out of them and have the crack.
yeah, it's good crack. So if you want this lad to show up to your gaff unannounced, go pay for his Patreon.
Don't even have to pay for it. It's all there's no money wall there, whatever you call it.
No?
You can listen to them free of charge, but if you want to support, you can, and if not, no hassle.
There you go. All right, you know where to find him. Thanks a million for watching. Behave yourself and good luck.